Here's 10 mistakes I've made as a football coach so you don't have to. Stay tuned to the end for a wee bonus question as well. First up then, we've got lines and cues for drills. I hate to see this. I see it so often walking around pitches. Just lines and kids, especially at young ages, just standing around waiting 2, 3, 4 minutes for a 10-20 second shot on the ball. Just get rid of it, get them all ball at their feet, find a drill that gets maximum engagement. Lose the lines, lose the cues, it's no good for anyone. Spending too much time on admin, so this comes down to what kind of support you've got from your parents or the rest of your coaching staff. Coaches should absolutely be spending their time concentrating on planning their next session, what they're going to do, coming up with their season plans, sorting their team out for Saturday or Sunday whenever you're playing. Try and get somebody on board that can help you do all the admin stuff, collecting match fees, collecting monthly payment subscriptions, whatever it is that your club requires, registering players for the league. Try and get somebody on board to take on some of that admin stuff, or even somebody to do the social media posts if that's something that your club do. Get somebody on board to help you with all that so that you can concentrate on coaching your team. You'll notice a wee shirt change in the middle here. That is because I completely missed one of the mistakes. And that is dribbling in and out of cones. So cones are really useful. Obviously, we use them for absolutely everything in football when we're coaching, but try and avoid these drills where it's just, certainly at the young ages, players with their heads down, looking and paying more attention to not hitting the cone or what the ball's doing at their feet. Try and use cones to set out a box or an area for the players to work in where they can concentrate on keeping their head up and getting comfortable with the ball at their feet. There is a time and a place for cones if you're doing individual work and you're focusing on keeping that head up, but try not to use cones too much because it will just attract young players to put their heads down and focus on their feet rather than keeping their head up and looking at what's in front of them and getting comfortable with the ball. Balancing game time. So this is a tricky one. Certainly at the younger ages, it's very easy to get drawn into trying to put out the best team and just playing your best players more. Balance the game time. I've had it on so many occasions where a newer player might start with the club, joins the team, not up to much at the start, and you think they're not really going to turn into much. And within 6 months of coaching and getting into the game, they're the best player on the team. They're fantastic at centre back, or they're your top goal scorer, and they've quickly caught up with the rest of the team. So don't write anybody off as soon as they start. Balance the game time and give them all a fair shot because you never know what a player's going to turn into. Don't judge them on size or any physical attributes because you just don't know. Choosing the wrong club that doesn't fit with your values. This is a massive one. So I left a club a couple of years ago just because there was an incident and I completely disagreed with how they dealt with the whole situation, siding with a parent and not giving any support to the coach that was involved, and it left a really bad taste. And there was a lot of other things going on that I just didn't agree with the values of the club, and it was time to move on. So make sure when you're joining a club, whether it be for your child to play or for you to help out coaching or both, make sure that your values line up with the club. Have a look at their ethos, get to know a couple of people, ask a couple of opinions from the local area, find out as much as you can, do your homework before you join and sign up with that club. Not planning sessions, so this is a massive one. Certainly when you're starting out, so when I first started coaching, I didn't know as much as I know now. So 10 years ago, I was winging it from YouTube video to YouTube video and just kind of, there was no direction to any of my training, and I would think that I could just turn up and wing it, and it just doesn't work. Certainly when you're first starting out, you end up delivering sessions that have no real value and the kids don't really get anything out of it, or you just end up chasing players around trying to get them to behave because there's no structure to the session. Once you get a little bit more experienced, then you can maybe turn up to a session. If you've really been stuck for time, then you can turn up to the odd session here and there where you've got enough drills in your back pocket that you can run a session and get something out of it without too much planning and organisation. But what I would say is that you should absolutely have structure throughout the season so that you're working towards a set goal. Try not to wing it on sessions. We get it, work takes over, life takes over, everybody's busy, especially when you're a volunteer coach, but absolutely try and plan those sessions out and not just do it on the back of a fag packet where you're just sort of making it up on the hoof. Starting the strongest players together. So particularly at the younger age groups, you might have a complete mismatch of players, and see it quite a lot. I did it very much at the start where you put all your strongest players out, you're fantastic, and then as soon as you start making substitutions, the opposition just run riot with the game and it starts getting away from you. What I would say is mix it up, have a couple of your strong players on with some of your weaker players. It will help your weaker players develop. It will hopefully help your stronger players develop because they've got to communicate with the younger ones and help bring them on, encourage them, give them a little bit of guidance and direction. So we're putting them in that situation where they've got to learn leadership a little bit as well. Yeah, try and mix your teams up. Don't just put the strongest team out altogether, because you'll have a great first half, and as soon as you start making subs, you'll start conceding goals. Whereas if you balance the team up, then it'll be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more balanced, and hopefully you won't concede quite as much, and you can maintain a good standard throughout the match. Enter in the wrong division. So this was a huge one for us last year. We went into this past season, we went into the Premier Division, and the level was a complete eye-opener for the team that we entered. It was a long old season because we were playing some of the best teams in the country. It was a good experience to see the levels, but you need to be honest with yourself. At the same time, we looked at the division below, and there was clubs that absolutely should have been up in the Premier Division with us. So be honest with yourself. If you go down to the division below you and absolutely tank teams week in, week out, you're not going to develop your players, you're not doing yourself any favours, and you're not going to challenge them. So the improvements that they get week in, week out from the matches are going to be minimal. At the same time, be honest with yourself about your levels. We weren't honest enough with ourselves last year where we said, yeah, we can do the Premier Division, and we suffered throughout the season, and it was a real tough slog to get everyone to the end of it. So be honest with yourself about the level you're at. Last one, let players guide the session. I've seen this a few times, but if you've got a plan in your head and it's not quite working out and the players are sort of leaning towards something else, or you notice a few different issues that are maybe more vital and more fundamental than what you wanted to work on, then absolutely let the players guide the session, and don't be afraid to shift focus and move towards something that you feel the players need to get out of the session, if you feel it's more important and it's a little bit more vital that they fix those issues. So we'd like you to fill in number 10. Let us know what mistakes you've made. And the last little bonus question that we said about was, what club is the top that I'm wearing? Let's see if you can get it. Stick it in the comments and let us know what you think. They've been in the media a little bit recently for a very good reason. So let us know what you think.